morning. Good morning, everybody. Kathy Williams. Good morning. Okay, so I'm going live in 3 places. Here is my peeps over on YouTube. Here is my peeps over on TikTok. And over here are my peeps on Instagram. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me start saying good morning. Hey, Bonnie and Sophie. I ain't seen you in a minute. It's so good to see you. Good morning. Althea, good morning. Dee Dee. Language of Horses, good morning. Hey, Yanya. Hey, Bernice. Carol. This is a new name down in the chat. Welcome. Worried Mama, good morning. Mrs. G. Worried Mama is an old faithful. How you doing? Toria, good morning. Always down in the comments. Thank you. S Young, good to see you. How you doing? Hey Lily, hey Susie. Over here on Instagram. Hey Cinnamon, I see you. Sue Randall, Sean Lineback, good morning. Sharia, good morning. Parkland Char, good morning. Bunch of people over here on Instagram. Was y'all waiting at the door? Y'all must have been waiting at the door. Hey, Shorty Pie, Shepherd, Timothy, good morning. Over here, my TikTok peeps. Hey, y'all, how you doing? Gretchen, good morning. Tani, good morning. Maggie K, Intro, good morning. Jenny, good morning. Cindy Lou, good morning. Good morning, Queen Aries. Hold on, Queen Aries Dree. Good morning. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Mariska Lowbrow. Good morning. I'd say good morning from Ohio, but it's not a good morning here. Baby, I live in Georgia, so we see each other. Good morning, Stephanie. A sub. Good morning. Texting here. Good morning. Can't stop crying. Baby, it's a sad, it's just racism can't see past, racists can't see past their racism and their need to be superior. Their proximity to white supremacy is more important than anything else, including voting for issues that would benefit them. They will vote against that just to hold on to their perceived supremacy over others. Because poor white people, you're just as low as the people that you think are below you. Rhea said she just knew that Stacey had it in the bag. No, living here in Georgia, no, we didn't know that. We didn't know that. If you're in the political circles, no, we didn't know that. So we worked hard to get the word out about Stacey and her policies, to support her, to amplify her, and it still wasn't enough. It still wasn't enough. Okay, let's get into this. The first race I want to talk about is, and it's not going to be, there's not much to say. I want to talk about Louisiana. What happened down in Louisiana was a racist massacre. Do you hear what I'm saying? If you guys know Gary Chambers and followed him as he campaigned out in the community, reaching out to Black people and people of color, he is from the community. He is an activist. He knows the people and the people know him. And Of all of these races, to me, that was the most heartbreaking race. Gary Chambers lost. Gary Chambers lost. It was a massacre. I don't even think he got 20% of the vote. Racist as John Kennedy, I call him that white man, took home the win. It was a massacre. And it just was completely embarrassing that Black people down in Louisiana, Gary Chambers did a video running down all of, I guess they're called parishes, that would be in his district should he win. And he totaled up the amount of registered Black voters, that versus how many people actually voted in the last election. I think he got somewhere close to 1 million total. Don't hold me to that. I think it was 1 million, close to 1,000,000, 900,000 something. Um, and not even half of those people total voted in the last election. So I believe Gary Chambers knew what he was up against. Had a fraction of those people, Black people in Louisiana, in his district, had gotten out and voted, he would have won. He would have won. The other thing about Louisiana, there was this referendum on the ballot about slavery. Some of these states still had slavery written in their state constitutions. And so in several states, Vermont, Alabama, some other places, Louisiana was one of them. It was on the ballot to have that removed from the state constitution. The people who went out and voted, white people in Louisiana, voted to keep slavery on the books in Louisiana. The white people in Louisiana voted to keep slavery on the books. Instagram, y'all hearing me? And because Black people didn't get up and go out and vote, slavery is still legal in Louisiana. This is why we tell y'all, yes, voting for the presidency is important, but voting in the midterms, that is where a lot of these laws and referendums and policies, that is what affects your life most. I feel very sad for Gary Chambers because I followed him. I followed him out in the community, trying to motivate and encourage the community to get out and vote. And they just 100% let him down. And for me, that hurts. I hurt for him that we couldn't get together collectively to even fight for a chance to send that man to Congress, just to fight for a chance. They didn't even stand up for a chance to send that man to Congress. That's right, Tracy. Hmm. That's right. Keep slavery on the books, but no teaching of CRT or Black history. They don't even want you to say the word black these days. Good morning, everybody coming in on TikTok. Good morning, everybody coming in on Instagram. Why was Kamala Harris not on the trail? I don't know. I don't know. Taurus 713 midterm votes are just as important. To me, they're more important because those are the laws and referendums and policies that affect our daily lives. Good morning, Kim Riley. Everybody's asking about Georgia. I don't know the specific numbers about Georgia. Let me pull it up. I think I have a website. Let's pull it up. If it tell me specifically. Um, it doesn't tell me how many people voted. It just tells me percentage. Let me find Georgia. So Stacey Abrams got 45.8% of the vote, and Brian Kemp got 53.4% of the vote. So here in Georgia, the governor's race, Stacey Abrams lost. And you know what Stacey Abrams did? She didn't cry foul. She didn't scream election fraud. She called Governor Brian Kemp and conceded. She went out, she did her concession speech, and Brian Kemp went on to do his victory speech and was an asshole about it. Hey, everybody coming in on Instagram. Stacey Abrams lost here in Georgia. Senate races here in Georgia, just get on into it. Senate races here in Georgia, still too close to call. For a while, Herschel Walker was in the lead. Some point, maybe about 1:30, 12:30, 1 o'clock, Raphael Warnock took the lead. He's still in the lead with 49.2% of the vote, and Herschel Walker has 48.7% of the vote. But here in Georgia, you have to reach 50% of the vote to be declared the winner. So if neither one of these individuals reach 50%, then there will be a runoff. And so I'm gearing up to get my bootay, to go back out, cast my vote for Raphael Warnock. It's still in limbo. Um, the Senate race between, not the Senate race, the House race between Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let me pull up those specifics. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Marcus Flowers. Marjorie Taylor Greene was reelected. They like lies and conspiracies and the hate and the division that she spews. So her district voted her back into office. So we've got 4 more years of Marge out there doing what Marge does. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. All of the political pundits, all of the political polls were putting it out there that there was going to be a slaughter and that um, Republicans were going to win across the board in a landslide. And that sparked people like me and other commentators here on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. We worked diligently to get the word out, y'all. If y'all don't get out and vote, these Republicans are going to sweep, and we see how these Republicans are behaving. If they take control, we are in trouble. And so we preach that relentlessly across all of our platforms, trying to encourage people, trying to sound the alarm to stop this red wave that we all thought was coming. And that red wave never came to fruition. We've lost, but we stopped a bloodbath. So I need for y'all to hear me and understand that, right? There was no huge blue wave. But we stopped a massacre. We stopped a massacre. And in my mind, we live to fight another day. So all of these political pundits, as more races are called and things like that, they'll be talking about it. I'm now looking towards 2024. First, I'm on indictment watch. Donald Trump. I'm on indictment watch for Donald Trump and Matt Gaetz. Remember, he's still under investigation. Matt Gaetz is still under investigation. I'm on indictment watch. And we are waiting for Donald Trump to so-called make his announcement that he's running for president. All know he's announcing to run for president because he thinks it's going to keep him from being arrested. We'll see. What's the man name? Merrick Garland came out and said, no matter what your position is, it does not absolve you from legal accountability. So yeah, we on indictment watch. Here's where we stand as a whole for the Senate. Right now, we have 48 Democratic Senate seats, and we have 47 GOP Senate seats, right? There's still races out there where votes are being counted and things like that. So right now, we're still basically at 50-50. There is one party does not have complete control of the House, okay? As a whole, the House, there's 215 Democrat seats and 220 for the GOP. That's still up in the air because votes are still being counted. Let's get into some of these. The political pundits seem to believe that the Senate is going to swing towards the way of the Democrat. I don't know. I don't believe these polls. I don't believe none of that. And I'm always sitting on pins and needles until it's all counted and done with, right? So, child, Lauren Boebert, you in danger, girl. You in danger. The people out in Colorado ain't thinking like the people over here in Rome, Georgia. They sick of you, girl. They sick of you. They want you gone. Let me see if I can expand this to see specifically what's going on with Lauren Boebert. Okay, so Lauren Boebert's race. Right now, her opponent, Mr. Frisk, has 50.6% of the vote. Lauren Boebert has 49.4% 90% of the vote, and 90% of the vote has been counted. So they've got a little bit more to go, but Lauren Boebert is losing by about, looks like 5,000 something votes. Listen, I don't know about you. My girl lost in Georgia. My girl lost down in Florida. My man lost up in North um, Georgia. My man lost over in Texas. But Lauren Boebert losing would definitely put a smile on my face. I don't know about y'all. There's some other Senate races. Well, this is the only one that's outstanding. Democrats basically took Colorado. There were 2 seats where Republicans took the vote. There's 5 House seats out there in Colorado. Let me hit the back button. Who else are we waiting that we're really looking at? Matt Gaetz won his seat down in Florida. Ron DeSantis was quickly reelected. Val Demings lost to Marco Rubio. We just, Florida is a full red state at this point. For all of the money that the DNC puts in to Florida, they just need to stop, as well as in Texas. Texas is a full red state. The way that they have gerrymandered in those 2 states, it's going to have to be up to the people to decide that they want no more of this. I wouldn't continue to put a whole bunch of money into those 2 states. They definitely need to focus on Georgia, because Georgia is really a toss up at this point, because Dems are fighting hard. Black people in this state are fighting hard. Okay, so let me John Fetterman, baby, after that debate between John Fetterman and Dr. Oz, I just knew it was gonna be a wrap for Fetterman. No, baby. The people in Pennsylvania, is it Pennsylvania? Hold on. Let me find his race. The people in Pennsylvania, they were not having it. They were like, no. The way the Republicans talked so bad about John Fetterman, I think that lit fire into people in Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania turned up and showed out for John Fetterman. He won. He flipped that seat blue. That was a Republican seat. John Fetterman flipped that seat blue. The people in Pennsylvania did the doggone thing. He got 50.2% of the vote. Dr. Oz got 47.3% of the vote. Dr. Oz can go back to his mansion in Jersey and whatever he got going on in Turkey. John Fetterman, I'm so happy for him. He can Pennsylvania say, get your ass out of go somewhere, get away from us with this. With this. And you will not disparage and talk trash about our own. No, you will not. Go somewhere, get away from us. We don't want the likes of you over here in Pennsylvania. Baby, That race right there just makes me giddy. Let me open it up so I can see the total number of votes here. So John Fetterman got 2,588,371 votes. Dr. Oz got 2,440,653 votes. That is over. It's done. Congratulations to John Fetterman. Let me see who else. Alaska and Arizona, they are still out. Mark Kelly in Arizona. Is it Mark Kelly? Yeah, Mark Kelly. They he's projected to be the winner, but it's still saying that it's too early to call because there's still a lot of votes out there. Right now, he's got 51.4% of the vote. Blake Masters got 46.4% of the vote. Mark Kelly is way ahead, way ahead. And I'm guessing that's why they are projecting him to be the winner. The race with Lisa Murkowski in Alaska, that's still also out. She's losing. Lisa Murkowski is losing. Uh, Raphael Warnock, we talked about that. Let's see who the winners are across the board. In Alabama, Republicans won. In Arkansas, Republicans won. California, Democrat. Colorado, Democrat. Connecticut, Democrat. We know Florida went to Republicans. Georgia is still up in the air. Hawaii is Democrat. Idaho is Republican. Tammy Duckworth won out in Illinois. Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, all Republican. Maryland, Democrat. We're talking about the Senate, y'all. Missouri is Republican. Nevada is a hotly contested race. Is still out. Um, Let me click on it to get some specifics. 80% of the votes are in. Adam Laxalt has 49.9% of the vote. Catherine Cortez Masto has 47.2% of the vote. They still got a lot of votes out. If Catherine Cortez Masto wins, that adds another seat to the Senate. Mm. So I hope she can pull it off. I hope she can pull it off. Let's see. New Hampshire, New York. This is the Senate. Went Democrat. North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio. I felt bad for Tim Ryan because I believe Tim Ryan ran a perfect race. There were plenty of times when Tim Ryan went into the devil's den trying to communicate and speak to Republican voters to talk about his policies and what he wanted to do. They don't care about the policies. They don't care. They want the seat. But he lost to J.D. Vance. There's 2 Senate seats out in Oklahoma. They both went to Republicans. Oregon, Pennsylvania, Democrat. South Carolina. Thank you for the gifts over on TikTok. South Carolina, South Dakota, Utah, they all went to Republicans. Vermont and Washington went Democrat. And Wisconsin, it's still out. And this is another hotly contested race. This is between Ron Johnson and Mandela Barnes. Right now, Ron Johnson has 50.5% of the vote, and Mandela Barnes has 49.3% of the vote. That's a difference of, right, looks about like 30,000 votes. So this is close. 94% of the votes are in. That's the Senate. That's the Senate. So things can swing Republican or Democrat based on the races that are still up in the air. Let's go on over to the House and go through the House. In the House, there was one Democratic seat picked up and 6 Republican seats picked up. Arizona, 2 Democrat seats picked up and 3 Republican seats picked up. Arkansas, all the Republican seats were picked up. California, there are 30 Democratic seats that was picked up and 4 Republican. Colorado, we just talked about that. Lauren Boebert is in danger, y'all. Lauren Boebert is in danger. I love that for her. She's in danger. Connecticut picked up 4 Democratic seats. Delaware picked up 1 Democratic seat. Florida picked up 7 Democratic seats and 20 Republican seats. Georgia, there's 5 Democratic seats. I follow Lucy McBeth. She was reelected, thank God. If y'all don't know Lucy McBeth, her son, y'all remember a few years ago where in Florida there was this case where there was this young black kid that was at the gas station playing his music loud, and this white man asked him to turn it down, and he refused to turn it down, and so the white man shot and killed him. That happened in Florida. I forget where. That was Lucy McBeth's son. And she, from that point, that sparked fire under her to run for office. She ran for office, she won, and I believe this is her 3rd term, I believe. So, yeah, she's part of the 5 Democratic seats that were picked up here in Georgia. We're talking about the House versus 9 Republican seats that were picked up. Hawaii picked up 2 Democratic seats. Idaho picked up 2. Illinois, there's 13 Democratic seats picked up. 3 Republican seats picked up. Indiana, 1 versus 7 Republicans. Iowa, 3. Kansas, 1 versus 3 Republican. Kentucky, 1 Democratic seat versus 3 Republican. Also, I need to mention that, the Senate race between Charles Booker and Rand Paul in Kentucky. Charles Booker lost to Rand Paul. Kentucky stuck with white supremacy, and annoying as Rand Paul. Charles Booker is another one that I follow and could actually see him out in the community talking to people. None of that came from Rand Paul. Rand Paul was attending fundraising events that the people who voted for him would never be able to afford to attend. But they voted for his ass. Mm, mm, mm. So yeah, Charles Booker lost his seat in Kentucky. Louisiana, 1 Democratic House seat was picked up versus 5. Maine, 1 Democratic House seat. Maryland, 5 Democratic House seats versus 1 Republican. Massachusetts picked up 9 Democratic seats. Michigan picked up 6 Democratic seats versus 5. Got to mention that, let me pull that race up. In Michigan, why are they not even on the list? Let me go back to that. Oh, because it's governor. Hold on. We got to mention the governor's race in Michigan. Hold on. Let me pull up. No. Why is it? Oh, let me see. I got to click on. Okay, here we go. Governor Whitmer, the one where the deplorables had this plan to kidnap her. Remember her? She won against Tudor Dixon. Ooh, that Tudor Dixon was batshit crazy. Is she the one? I think she's the one that said a 13-year-old should not be allowed the right to get an abortion. Oh, she was batshit crazy, wasn't she? Tudor Dixon, thank you for the gifts. She was batshit crazy. Gretchen pretty much blew her out of the water. 2.3 million. She had 53% of the vote, almost 54%. Tudor Dixon had 44.4% of the vote. Tudor Dixon, I can't believe she got that far. It's just not with Tudor Dixon, it's just not election denying. This woman is certifiable to me. Yeah. And when you think about Carrie Lake, it's all that. Say whatever she needs to say to get into the position, right? Tudor Dixon, no, she's certified. She's she child. Michigan got it right because Tudor Dixon, Michigan got it right. Congratulations to Gretchen Whitmer. I believe Michigan is now completely a blue state. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody in Michigan in any of my chats? I believe now Michigan is a completely blue state. Let me go back over here. Minnesota picked up 4 Democratic House seats. First time since the 80s. Okay, yeah, thank you. Minnesota picked up 4 Democratic seats versus 4 for Republican. They basically cancel each other out. Mississippi, 1 Democratic seat versus 3 Republican seats. Missouri, 2 Democratic seats versus 6. Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, they all picked up Republican seats. New Hampshire picked up a Democratic seat. New Jersey picked up 9 versus 3 Republican. New Mexico picked up 2 Democratic seats. New York, there's something funny going on with New York that has people concerned, and I don't quite understand it yet. But they have picked up 14 Democratic seats versus 6 Republican seats. I, I don't know. 6 races hasn't been called. And I believe 5 of those races they thought were going to swing Democrat, and it doesn't look to be swinging Democrats. So there's some concern about New York. There's some concern about New York. And I think these are new areas. But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she was easily reelected. Easily. In fact, the entire squad, they're called the squad, they all were reelected. So we got them in the House to fight not only for, I find that they not only fight for the citizens in their state, but they fight for Americans as a whole. So North Carolina picked up 7. We're still talking about the House versus 7 Republican seats. That cancels each other out. North Dakota picked up 1. Ohio picked up 5 versus 10. Oklahoma picked up 5 Republican seats. Oregon, 3 Democratic versus 1. Pennsylvania picked up 7 Democratic seats versus 8 Republican seats. Rhode Island, 2 Democrat. South Carolina, 1 Democrat versus 6. I forget if he's South Carolina or North Carolina, but Tim Scott, who I like to say happens to be Black, because he does not support or look out for Black people. He just happens to be Black. Um, he was reelected. Tennessee, 1 Democratic seat versus 8 Republican. Texas, 13 Democratic seats versus 25 Republican seats. So the House down in Texas, majority is Republican. Texas is just solid red all the way through, along with Florida. Utah picked up 4 Republican seats. Vermont, 1 Democratic seat. Virginia, 6 Democrat seats versus 5 Republican seats. Side note, we have to talk about the governor over, it's Maryland. Westmore, it's Maryland, right? Yes. Westmore, a black man, blew Dan Cox, a white man, out of the water. Westmore overwhelmingly won his seat out in Maryland. 59.5% of the vote versus Dan Cox, who got 37.1% of the vote. Westmore is now the first black man to hold the governorship in Maryland. And they voted for him overwhelmingly. Congratulations, Maryland. Congratulations. That's what we were trying to do here in Georgia. We didn't quite get there. We didn't quite get there. Let me see. Okay. Washington picked up 5 Democratic seats versus 2. West Virginia picked up 2 Republican seats, and Wisconsin picked up 2 Democratic seats versus 6 Republican seats. Wyoming, they picked up 1 Republican seat. And so that's all of the seats in the House. Some of them have not been called. Alaska has not been called. Arizona has not been called. California, 18 seats have not been called. Colorado, 2 of them, one of them, which is Lauren Boebert. One of them is Lauren Boebert. There's 1 race in Connecticut that hasn't been called, 1 in Florida that hasn't been called. Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa, there's still 1 outstanding. Maine, there's 1. Maryland, there's 2. Michigan, there's 2. Montana, 1. Nevada, 3. New Mexico, 1. 6. We in New York, we talked about those. 2 in Oregon, 2 in Pennsylvania. Those new districts in New York is worrisome, because if they all go Republican, then the Republicans can easily take the House. Washington, there's 3 uncalled. Let's go on over to the governor and see what's going on with the governors in the United States. We all know Governor Ivey down there in racist Alabama was going to be reelected, right? Dunleavy down in Alaska is in the lead. We didn't talk about Arizona. Crazy ass Carrie Lake. I don't think she's crazy. She talks crazy, but I don't think she's crazy. I think she's very smart, because news media has been pointing out the fact and exposing her for being an Obama supporter at one point, and now she's gone full MAGA. And she just has shown me that she will go any which way in order to get what she wants, and that's concerning. That means she won't stand for what's right. If the check is bigger over here, she's going to go for the check. Get what I'm saying? Right now, Katie Hobbs is 50.3%. She's got 50.3% of the vote, and Carrie Lake has 49.7% of the vote. This is going to be a problem. There's only 69% of the votes that are in. This is going to be the problem for Arizona. Carrie Lake is problematic. She will hold it up, screaming election fraud. They asked her many times during the campaign, will she accept the election results? And basically, she refused to answer. So if she loses, she's probably going to be out there contesting it. I know that a lot of the political pundits, Joe Scarborough being one of them, was ragging on Katie Hobbs because she refused to debate Carrie Lake. It looks like Katie Hobbs, there was no need for her to stress herself out about a debate because she's in the lead and she didn't have to deal with the likes of Carrie Lake. Listen, Carrie Lake is very smart. She's very smart and cunning. Very smart, very cunning. That's a dangerous individual. And if Katie said I can't deal with cunning and smart, so I'm just gonna stay over here. I'm gonna talk to the people, and I'm just gonna let the people decide. But I find that when there was a lot of Republicans who ditched out on debates. Rand Paul was one of them. Ditched out on the debate, and it's not because they think that their policies and what they stand for and what they're looking to do as far as making life better for their constituents was speaking for them. No, they ditched the debates and they had a lot to answer for. And yet people still voted them in without questioning Rand Paul and all of his motives during COVID-19. Why were you in Russia, Rand Paul? They voted for him anyway. And for me, if I have those types of questions, if I saw how you moved during COVID, attacking Dr. Fauci, I couldn't vote for you because I have questions that you don't respect me enough to stand up in front of a camera and answer. So, yeah, it's still the race with Katie Hobbs and Carrie Lake is still out there. And if she loses, be expecting for her to be screaming election fraud. Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders won overwhelmingly in Arkansas. Yes, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Trump sycophant, who was once the press secretary. Y'all remember her, right? Y'all remember her. California, Gavin Newsom was reelected. Colorado, Jay Polis was elected. He's a Democrat. Connecticut, Lamont, Democrat. Florida, Ron DeSantis. And did you see his acceptance speech? We won't tolerate wokeness. What? Shut up, Ron DeSantis. Brian Kemp, another weasel. Hawaii governor is now Democrat. I don't know if it was always Democrat. Idaho is now Democrat. Illinois is Democrat. Iowa is Republican. Kansas is Democrat. Maine is Democrat. Maryland is Democrat. Massachusetts is Democrat. Now, Massachusetts, Maura Healey overwhelmingly won her seat. She got 63.5% of the vote, where her opponent got 34.8% of the vote. But Maura Healey is now in the history books because I believe she's the first woman and she's the first member of the LGBTQIA community to hold that seat. So congratulations to her. We talked about Governor Whitmer. Minnesota went Democrat. Nebraska went Republican. Nevada, it hasn't been called. Joe Lombardo, 50.6% of the vote. Sisolak has 45.8% of the vote. And there's 80% of the vote in. So I guess the amount of votes that's currently out can swing Sisolak into the lead, and Sisolak is the Democrat. So I guess we'll still be looking out for that. That's Nevada. Um, New Hampshire went Republican as far as the governorship. New Mexico went Democrat. New York Democrat. Ohio and Oklahoma went Republican. Oregon is still out. The Democrat is in the lead with 76% of the votes in. So I guess we'll be looking out for that. Pennsylvania, Rhode Island went Democrat. South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, they all went Republican. Side note, what type of gerrymandering did they do in Texas? Good morning, Stacy, over here on Instagram. Good morning. What kind of gerrymandering did they do in Texas? I know gerrymandering is a huge issue in Texas. Without doing it, it would not be solid red. Dang. Roger says, hell, I want to know too. Mm. Wisconsin is Democrat and Wyoming is Republican. And that's all the winners and losers, y'all. There was no red wave. You know, all of the people would get down in my comments. The red wave is coming. The red tsunami is coming. They even started saying hashtag red earthquake. And I know a lot of people are sad about the individual races. I'm sad too about the individual races that took place here in Georgia. But when I look at it as a whole, even Lindsey Graham came out and said, no, this was no red wave. This was no overwhelming Republican win. Um, that made me kind of happy because if there was an overwhelming red wave as they all expected it to be, baby, we would be in trouble. We would be in trouble. I believe it's going to be another 4 years of fighting because, like I said, one side doesn't have an overwhelming majority in the House or in the Senate at this point. So it's just going to be more deadlock. Bearded Soul says Texas doesn't want to be saved. I don't think they have, I think gerrymandering plays a huge part in Texas. Um, in Florida, I believe you just have individuals who side with white supremacy and the Latina community. They side with white supremacy. They don't look at the Black community and other people. What I'm going to say is Black community. They don't look at the Black community as they are on the same level. They believe they're above the Black community. Mm-hmm. So they side with white supremacy. And so they vote against their own interests. Teresa Craig says, just so you'll know, the people that voted for Rand Paul are the same ones still spreading C because they refuse to get the vaccine. Florida has a huge Latino community. And then there's the rural areas in Florida. I told y'all about driving down to Florida. I told y'all I am from Florida. I grew up in Miami. 18, 19 years. I lived in Miami. I know how they look down upon Black people. And I know how they look out for one another. Mhm. I knew it was gonna be a uphill battle for Valdemix because of that. But I rooted her on, rooted her on. Driving down to through Florida, the top part, the panhandle of Florida, oh my God. I swear the whole atmosphere is different. Years upon years of driving back and forth from Georgia to Miami, no problems. When I went back home earlier this year, the atmosphere is scary to me. Just scary. Just scary. So we have to suffer 4 more years here in Georgia with Brian Kemp. I think about all of the hospitals that have closed under Brian Kemp. They don't care. The racists in Georgia, they don't care. They voted him back in. Anyway, his stance on abortion, they don't care. They voted him back in office anyway. For there to be a close race between Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock just goes to show you the lengths that they will go to hold on to that proximity to white supremacy. The Sanders, I heard there's been a lot of gerrymandering going on in Florida as well. Mhm. I heard that. I heard that. And so there's the winners and losers. There's the winners and losers of last night. Lord, the the way that it's set up now, the House and the Senate can go either way. But the battle that they thought that they were going to just win in a landslide and they were going to be able to run and do whatever it is that they wanted in Congress and the Senate, and that just does not look like the case. So when you're looking at your individual races and you're feeling sad about that, think about the election as a whole. When they come in and they start bragging about the red wave came through, you respond and say, yeah, but the blue wave stopped it. Because that's basically what happened. That's basically what happened. I believe we now are able, we are living to fight another day. 2024 will soon be here. Donald Trump is expected to announce his candidacy for president in 2024. And it's going to be interesting. There's going to be a battle, excuse me, between evil and evil. Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. There's going to be a battle between those two. Those girls are going to be fighting for 4 years, and I can't wait to see what they expose about each other. Right, Bougie Barbie? It was largely an even split. Mm. just just who says I love that for them. Right, just too sassy. Baby. Hey Muscles. Muscles says, oh my fucking God, something must be up. What? Let me put on my headphones. You want to come up and spill it? Because I've been on. I haven't been tuned in this morning. So and I've been online for the past hour or so. So whatever happened in that time, the GOP just admitted in Florida that canvassers, oh, yeah, canvasser. Oh, you're banned on live. Which canvasser? The one that Marco Rubio that came out of? Is that the one? The canvasser that the one that got attacked? Okay, yeah, that came out a couple of weeks ago. Marco Rubio put it out there that there was this person out canvassing for the Republican Party, and he got attacked because he was canvassing for the Republican Party. And I told y'all I'm from Miami. I'm from Miami. This happened out in Hialeah. I'm from Miami. Hialeah is a heavy Latina area. Cubans and Puerto Ricans. They are Republicans. And so when I heard it, I was like, ooh, that don't make sense. Hialeah? Hialeah is a heavy Republican area. So what are they talking about? And I heard it and I just kept on moving. But it didn't make sense to me. And then later it came out. But Marco Rubio had posted this. And when Marco Rubio, all of the local news stations, my mom is still in Fort Lauderdale. So she sees all of this on the news. She and I were talking about it. I had to tell her, Ma, it's a lie. I said, you know that that area is Republican. I had to tell her, no, it came out that Marco Rubio posted that ish. So, and then all of the local news media quickly picked up on it and reported it, and all of this stuff, and come to find out that the man he was tied to the 3%ers, one of them white supremacist terrorist groups. He was tied to that. And the person who beat him up, he was harassing that homeowner. The homeowner didn't want him knocking on his door or on his lawn or doing whatever he was doing. And the homeowner whooped his ass. The homeowner whooped his ass, and that's why it went down like that. It wasn't attacked because he was a Republican canvassing for Republicans. No. But when Marco Rubio put it out there, and then all of the local media picked up on it and took Marco Rubio's word for it and reported that this man was in Hialeah canvassing and he was attacked simply for being a Republican, it had done its job. You think Marco Rubio came back out and said, I was mistaken, I don't associate with white supremacist terrorists? You think he came back out and said that? Heck no, he didn't. The guy didn't want Republican worker cutting through his yard. I don't know the specifics, but the man told the man to stay out of his space. And the 3%er was antagonizing and messing with that man. And that man whooped his ass. Just like the whole situation with Rand Paul and his neighbor. All of the right wants to come and y'all was laughing at Rand Paul. I laughed at Rand Paul because I know what went down. I know what went down. Rand Paul is an antagonizing, arrogant, annoying little piece of shit. And he was doing things to annoy his neighbor. They were specifically talking about how he would always gather up his debris and put it on that man's side of the property line. And that man got tired of cleaning up and having piles of debris in his yard. And so Rand Paul's out doing the same shit that has annoyed this man for years. And that man said, not today. I'm whooping your ass today. I'm tired of talking to you. I'm tired of telling you to stop putting your shit on my lawn. And so he whooped his ass. So he whooped his ass. I believe that the GOP will never side with white supremacy. Child, why are you here? The GOP is white supremacy. Go away. Wait. Right, doggy. He said, not today. This ain't happening today. I done told you year after year repeatedly. Stop putting your shit on my lawn. And you know Rand Paul was doing that just to aggravate that man. Hell, he gets on the Congress floor doing shit just to aggravate all of us. You know he was doing that shit. Now I'm not saying violence is the answer. I am saying I understand. I am saying that I completely understand where the neighbor was coming from. So yeah, what happened to Rand Paul is nothing compared to what happened to Paul Pelosi. They can miss me with the guy that beat up Rand Paul was Richard Marks, the singer. I, I, I don't care if he was the garbage man for real, Brittany. The man is human. You keep poking and poking and poking and poking and poking and poking and poking, that bear is going to rise up. That bear is going to rise up. Just like you remember, just look at what was happening during the Senate hearings with Dr. Fauci, right? Rand Paul poked and poked and poked and poked and poked, told lies about Dr. Fauci, would bring Dr. Fauci in to speak before the Senate, and Rand Paul would poke and poke and poke and poke at that man with lies and conspiracy theories and using Dr. Fauci to get his clicks and views and for his fundraising and all of that. And what ended up happening? Dr. Fauci started getting with Rand Paul at those hearings. You notice those hearings stopped after a while. You notice they stopped because Dr. Fauci started speaking up and calling out Rand Paul for what it was that he was doing. So yeah, now the neighbor, he was charged. I believe he even had to serve jail time. I don't know if he's still there or not, but he ended up having to serve jail time. But I'm sure the guy was like, he was apologetic that it had gotten to that level. But I understand. Stop poking at people. They will get tired of it. They will get tired of it. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for joining me. We've been on here for an hour. We went through all of the races. Hopefully, I gave you a different perspective. Baby, they really had, they really thought, they really thought, they really thought that there was going to be this red wave coming. But us people who were fighting for democracy, who was fighting for our autonomy, who was fighting um, for our rights, basically, we all were able to come together and to stop that slaughter that they had planned. So, yeah. On that note, y'all, thank y'all for joining me. I'm exhausted. I got some things to do. Um, and I'm gonna go take care of them now. I'm gonna continue to pay attention to all of these races that are still out. But yeah, nowhere, no red wave, which means that unfortunately, I think there's going to be 4 more years of deadlock in the Congress. When do I think? I don't know, child. I don't know. I hate to even. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. There's not based on the percentage that's still out there. I don't think it should be long, but yeah. I love y'all. Be safe. I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.